And we're back with On the Record with Tiffany. And we kicked off our television and radio collaboration this week with TAN TV, the African American Network Television. They have a local reach and a global feel. And we are just thrilled to have a channel on TAN TV, and also thrilled to have 9:30 a.m. The Answer, our original home, supporting us in doing that. So today we're going to be talking about public health with Dr. Woo. Dr. Woo, tell our audience a little bit about you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Congratulations on your growth. I am Junda Woo. I am medical director at the City of San Antonio Metro Health. We are your local public health department for San Antonio and Bexar County. I've been here since 2015, and I am trained as an OBGYN, but now I do preventive health and public health.
Wow. So Dr. Woo and Metro Health, they have been at the forefront of vaccination efforts throughout the city of San Antonio. And they really have focused on the vaccine hesitant. Dr. Woo, why is it so important that the vaccine hesitant get vaccinated?
Well, it's important that everybody get vaccinated. And so at some point after you vaccinate the people who want to be, you end up with the vaccine hesitant. And I think you could see coming that there would be places that would have mandates like what it seems to now be coming down from the White House. But we never want to go to that as the first step. We want people have totally reasonable questions, concerns for a lot of different reasons. And sometimes people just have logistical issues. Even now, there are people who don't have questions or concerns. They're just working 2 or 3 jobs, and maybe they don't know that you can get the vaccine until 8 o'clock at the Alamo Dome, or that the Robert B. Greene Pharmacy is open on Saturdays and you could just walk in. So a lot of people have stuck in their heads that January, February picture where it was people waiting in lines and you couldn't get an appointment, you'd be online. It's not like that. So letting people know that, but also, I think there's a lot of shaming and blaming I hear out there, and it bothers me. When people say that it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated, that's true. Sometimes people say it in a way that other people who are not vaccinated, nobody's taken time to address their questions. Nobody's taken time to acknowledge that it's normal to not trust government or medical institutions if you have not been treated justly by those institutions, if your family or if your community historically has been mistreated. It's normal to be skeptical, right? Mm-hmm. So,
and people are skeptical of healthcare, of anything that is not tested in a certain way, or if the FDA doesn't approve it. For some people, that, like, one of the things that we heard during my day job, we have been doing vaccine drives with Metro Health. And one of the things that we heard from people is that they were waiting for the FDA to approve it. And so once the FDA approved it, then they were fine with the thought of getting vaccinated. But they felt like there must be something askew if the FDA has not said, yes, this is fine.
Yeah, it is yet another level of security. I'll just tell a personal story. I myself was not so sure if in August of 2020 that I was going to feel great about getting a brand new vaccine with a brand new mechanism that nobody had ever tried before. But there are a few things that reassured me. One is when I dug deeper, there aren't any vaccines where there's some long-term side effect that doesn't show up for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
That happens with new medicines that are on the market. Mm-hmm. So everybody's heard about, after a year, it turned out that this drug was bad for your kidneys or your liver, right? Mm-hmm. But that's for something that you're taking every day. You're putting in your system at least once a day. Vaccines, they go in you once. They get destroyed pretty easily, or else they wouldn't have to be kept at a special temperature and everything. Mm-hmm. They go in, they do their thing, and then like a Snapchat, they disappear. So all the vaccines that we use on the market, not just the COVID ones, if something bad's going to happen, and those are rare, but that's real. It's usually something on the order of a number out of a million people, 60 in a million. It depends on what adverse outcome you're talking about. But those really bad ones, you're going to know within the first several weeks, certainly within 6 weeks, if you're affected that way. So by say, this past summer of 2021, anybody could have said, wow, this has already been used in more than 100,000 people in not 100,000, more than 100 million people in the United States alone, not even looking at the globe. And so far, it's been, overwhelmingly safe. It's not zero risk, but it's really, really low risk. So you could look at those things and feel comforted. But I understand some people want that extra layer of comfort from the final FDA seal of approval. So we're gratified that did happen.
Well, I like that you said your personal view there, because I think that more people, part of what we say on the record with Tiffany is we're more alike than we are different. And that's true. People are not as polarized as some of my media counterparts would have us think. The questions that are being asked are reasonable. And if we give a reasonable answer, it's easier to convince someone that they should get vaccinated. Instead of telling people that their ideas or their questions are ridiculous, answer the question. and that's really, at the crux of what we're going through right now with hesitancy, because people need to know that they're being heard. Not just talked at, but listened to and responded to.
And that is where all of your listeners come in, because from where I am behind this screen, I can't have a one-on-one conversation with somebody and understand what their own fears and concerns and questions are, but you can. And I think we all have that person, at least that one person in our lives where we've been talking to them about the vaccine. And it's just hearing people out and working on it slowly and not getting frustrated. If you talk to somebody about diet or smoking, most people aren't just going to change in one day. They have reasons that what they're doing has been working for them. Right?
Yeah.
So
when you said diet and exercise, 12 years ago, I used to weigh 340 pounds, a little bit over 340 pounds. And I lost 187 pounds. And I always say that the reason, I have, as my listeners know, I have a day job where I work with kidneys, fighting kidney disease. And I always say that the reason why I'm not in the same boat as all of my family members because we've lost 12 family members to chronic kidney disease, to kidney disease. It's because I lost the weight. The 187 pounds, my comorbidities went away. I no longer had a heart problem. I had an enlarged heart. Now that took a while to go down. It takes like 5 years before you know that you're enlarged heart, before it either goes down or it stays the same. But it went down. My diabetes gone. My high blood pressure, I take about an eighth of what I used to take for blood pressure medicine. I do still take that. And then the acid reflux and all of the other like ancillary things that were wrong, gone. All of that's gone, and has been for the last 10 years. But to get there, it wasn't a quick fix. I literally, like when I say I lost 187 pounds, people think, oh, I just like, how long did that take? 6 months? No, it took 2.5 years. I unplugged from television for 3.5 years because I had to change what I thought here in order to change what I was doing here.
You mean, was the ads?
I thought in my brain in order to change what I was doing, what I was eating.
Was it the ads for foods? Is that what you mean from TV? Or
no, I unplugged from television because of, I suppose the ads might have been part of it, but what I truly found was what television tells you about your self-worth. And what it says to you, what it says you need to be, what you need to achieve, what you need to have. That was the stuff that I identified as being negative in my life. And I had to remove that. I had to remove the notion that if I just got one more purse, one more pair of shoes, one more of this, or if I just traveled to Cozumel one more time, or went to this place, that would make me better. I'd be a happier person. You'll be happier if you have X. Happiness has to come from within. There is no external item that I can go out and pick up that's going to make me happy. The only thing that makes me happy is, I can tell you the simplest things make me happy. Seeing this morning, when I looked up, my daughter was standing at the top of the staircase and she said, "Hello, mommy." She's 11. She's 11. And she was like, "How was your sleep?" That makes me happy when I see her like joyous and excited at 5:45 in the morning. Hair everywhere. and she's just a little bundle of that makes me happy. Those things are the important things in life, not material items. So unplugging from that and really, we actually, like what I actually did was unplug from television for 3 years, sold everything and sold some things, gave away a lot of things, downsized from a house that was 3,900 square feet to 800 square feet of living space, gave away. The hardest thing to give away was the books in the library, because we had a library of 5,000 books, and we each person could only keep 250 books. Lord, that was the hardest thing to do, is to give away give away the books, because the books were my little pets.
You were a hero. This is fantastic. I'm so happy to hear this story or enjoying this story. This is great.
Like, I'm just, but I said that to say it's not the simplicity of what people, the quick fix is nothing's ever as quick as we want it to be. It's harder. It's hard, but it's good. It's hard is a good thing.
It is hard. And the problem is that the virus it works on its own timeline. right?
Mhm.
So every time the virus infects somebody new, it gets a chance to mutate. And so we really collectively, we have an interest in making sure that there are as few infections as possible. Also, unfortunately, and not surprisingly, the people who had the least access to healthcare to begin with are also the most likely to get infected, and sometimes have some long-term side effects. So just from the usual, hey, we want people to be able to access care perspective, as well as from, I think, call it health justice, call it equity, perspective, we have an interest in making, in doing more collaborations like with your church,
Mhm. I have to tell you, your team, the team for Metro Health that came out, the coordinator, her name was Lucy
yes.
Hernandez. She was stellar. So were the nurses, and just they were so caring. And we had people that came through who were definitely a little bit nervous, and they calmed people's fears. Like they really did. I mean, they were doing more than just a job. You could see that this for them is a calling, and they were there to fulfill something that they feel is really special. And person after person in our community said that. It was just I wish you could have been there to see it, because it was such a blessing to all of those families that came through, and people brought their kids, and that's a huge compliment to Metro Health, that someone would bring their child, their most precious commodity, to you to get vaccinated.
Well, it goes back to
that was a
you.
big deal.
I mean, thank you, and I'll let the team know. And it also has to do with you and that relationship that we built. When I look at our relative vaccination rate here compared to Dallas or Houston, which we're doing better than, Austin, which we're not doing as well as, we can be proud of what we have done as a community. On the other hand, it also shows us how much farther we have to go. Because for sure, the East Side, the most African-American part of town, is also still the most under-vaccinated part of town. And that number does not change much. So we keep trying. I just this week had a conversation with somebody about, can we still have to have this approved, but, can we ask the CDC if we can use vaccine incentives to have people kind of do that door knocking and transportation that we see, for instance, on election day. Could we have something kind of like that for vaccinations? We'll see.
We should talk about this, because I have a public health initiative that we're doing with Texas Kidney Foundation. We have this amazing physician. His name is Dr. Kumar Sharma. And do you know Dr. Sharma?
I do not.
Okay, well, he wrote the theoretical premise that all of the kidney therapeutics are made on. So, and he lives right here in San Antonio and leads the nephrology department at UT Health Science Center. And, he has a personal connection to kidney disease. He's just like, he's one of the reasons why I do what I do. And he has a lot to do with me being good at my job, because he's helped me and just kind of introduced me to people who've taught me all kinds of of very good information that I needed as an advocate coming into this, because I was just coming in as a person whose family was being devastated by this disease. And since meeting Kumar, he's just helped a lot. But we started a public health initiative. He's doing an academic side where he's studying 120 to 150 patients who are in recovery from COVID-19 and following their kidney function. How are the kidneys functioning, and what can we do to mitigate loss of function afterwards? And we are doing the public health side. So we just got approved for working in each of the counties. So we're doing this with Baylor County, where we've got 2,000 test kits for each precinct. So 8,000 tests that we'll be disseminating in Baylor County to identify kidney disease. And as you know, that's one of the biggest problems. People don't know that they have kidney disease. Well, the test kits, we mail them right to their house. And they take the test in the comfort of their home. They put their smartphone over the test.
Okay.
And it reads the result, sends it to us, and gives it to them right there. So it's taken a while to get it all of the semantics worked out. But things like that, we've built relationships in the process of getting the tests together with various churches, the Methodist Church, the African American Church, the Catholic Church, the Episcopal. I've reached out to all forms of churches. So let's talk about this, because, and I talked to your team as well, because I think that's the way we can go. We should be talking to the East Side. It's through that leadership, because they are really the heart and the voice of those communities. And if we want to make a change, then we do it hand in hand. Us and the communities that we want to serve. Serving is just that. Asking how we can be of assistance. So you've been listening to On the Record with Tiffany. And as you know, we have a wonderful crossover and a new home at TAN TV. Thank you so much, Laura Thompson, and your beautiful team there at TAN. And it's us once again with my home and my beginning here at Salem Media on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. I'm just so thankful to Chad and Milton and my wonderful producer Shemaya for listening to my outside of the box thinking, and Shemaya for all of his mic drop cool things that he comes up with for me to do. You've been listening to On the Record with Tiffany and my special guest, Dr. Woo of Metro Health. They are changing the world one family at a time, and they're doing it by caring and reaching out to the community in a way that we haven't seen before. So thank you, Dr. Woo, for everything that you're doing.